something in there because the thing that's crazy is that when people don't have enough money in their commissary, you get fed at 6 a.m., at 10 a.m., at 4 p.m., and then you're done. So if you're hungry throughout the day, if your commissary only has like $4, you're just buying ramen packets.
Let's talk about
Which
this
is
in the
mad
interview.
salt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are talking about it on the interview. It's
Oh,
Ebro in the
started.
morning. Laura Stiles
Thank
Rosenberg.
you.
Yeah. Her name is, how do I say your last name, Kathy?
Iandoli.
Iandoli.
Yeah.
Kathy.
Kathy Iandoli in this book, Commissary Kitchen, my infamous prison cookbook by Albert Johnson and Kathy Iandoli. Albert Johnson is Prodigy.
Yes. Of course it is.
But this is out now?
No, it's coming out October 11th.
Okay. October 11th, it'll be out, and I'm sure we'll be helping Kathy out with that. But why Kathy is here today? She did a Billboard article, I believe, a week ago about Hot 97, which was entitled, Is Hot 97 Where Hip Hop Lives? Did I say that right?
Does hip hop
Still live at Hot 97. Yeah, does it? And so I was like, this is an interesting conversation. Let's have Kathy up. Now, I didn't read the article. Rosenberg, you read the article. The president of my company forwarded me the article, and I kind of skimmed through it. At the time, I think you guys, in doing my research with PR, you guys reached out to Hot 97 for a statement around Drake, yes?
No, I reached out for an interview with you and Flex.
What was it about, though?
The article.
But
Before
it
writing
was
the
before
article.
all of that. Got it. And why didn't we do it?
I don't know. I was turned down.
Oh, damn.
I remember seeing the emails as to why they didn't feel like doing it, but there was some logic behind, like, they just didn't think it was a piece they wanted to speak on, knowing the theme of it or something like that.
So we're having you up now.
Yeah.
So now we can speak
Thank
on it. And Laura, you know Kathy.
Yeah,
and I met Kathy through you.
Yeah. Me and Kathy are friends. We've been friends for years.
Yeah.
Like years.
So this question that you're posing, Kathy, is what is the question again?
Does hip hop
Does
still
hip-hop
Does
still
hip hop still live at Hot 97? You asked that question because?
Because I feel like the tagline of Hot 97 for decades now has been where hip hop lives. And in 2016, given the relationship with certain artists with the station, is that relationship still solid? And that was where I left the question as open-ended because I don't think there's an actual answer, but that was the assignment. So, but yeah, I think it's an open-ended answer, but that was essentially the question that I was posing.
Yeah, I would say that our relationship with artists, since I've been here since 2000, late 2002, early 2003, has always been good, bad, strained,
Right.
some sort of standoff of who's going to force us to do what they need us to do to benefit them versus what we're trying to do to benefit our listeners.
Right.
Right. And entertain the people who actually keep us employed, which is the listeners and them tuning in. Right. Because if all we do is cater to artists all the time and do exactly what the artists want us to do, exactly the way they want us to do it to benefit them and their agenda, we always feel like then we're doing a disservice to our audience.
That's true. And I do feel like with the morning show, especially when you're speaking to hip hop artists or you're speaking about the music, you keep things on a very lyrical level. And I think the argument that I was trying to pose was that a lot of these artists are not cut from the cloth of the criteria
Facts.
that, the standard that you're holding them to. It's true. And, it's funny because a lot of your opinions I agree with, but the question is, should it go on air at that point? Because you're dealing with millennial feelings and you're dealing with.
Yeah, I don't do so well with that.
I know.
I'm not
I
good
know.
at
But
that.
do you think that we should change that though? Because I feel like part of our success is the honesty behind it. You know what I mean?
And transparency.
And transparency.
agree.
And for us to just change the way we, we view things to cater to millennials, I just think it's absurd.
Yeah, but you have to understand that right now in 2016, Hot 97, your station is bookended by the morning show and Funkmaster Flex, both coming at artists from all different sides. There's no buffer in the middle. And, when Angie left, Angie was the buffer. She was the matriarch. She was mama, where artists could go to when the morning show ripped them apart or when Flex ripped them apart. So now that there's no buffer in the middle, it's coming at them from all sides, or both sides rather. There's no one in the middle for them to run and be hugged by. Now, do I think that you should be, cognizant of all their feelings all the time? No, but just the argument that I was posing is there's no middle ground anymore.
I think in the book ended in that specific analogy, there's only one artist where would even perceive that both myself or Rosenberg and Flex were coming at them. That would be Drake.
Right.
And I didn't even go at Drake at all. Right? Like, I've never done that. It's never happened. Now, people getting upset that I started a potential rumor or whatever, that's stupid. And if people are upset about that in Drake's world, I can't help you with that. Like, that's not my responsibility. But nobody came at you to try to hurt you other than Flex. I think, Rosenberg, you've had some unsavory things to say.
After it all went down, then last week I jumped in, but that was
But saying all that to say, I think that that's a rare occasion, and Drake is also a rarity in this game that he's just the biggest right now. Also,
Right.
So and then also you have situations where you have like Megan and Nessa, who are in this market and at this station are new, right? So they haven't developed that, I guess, perceived to what you're saying, the level of someone like Angie who had been in the game that long, and the expectation of the brand, as you say, was that she was the matriarch, she was the buffer, she was a safe zone. That hasn't been developed yet. So I think as Hot 97 as a brand, I think is in transition in that. And I also think hip hop's in transition, because the question is, does hip hop still live at Hot 97? What is hip hop today?
Well, there you go.
And that's a whole other question, right? So my expectation of what my hip hop is different than somebody who is 20. Not all, but some, right? And there's new things in hip hop, whether you like them or not. The Yachty and the Uzis and the Thugs and these things represent a genre that people consider hip hop, right? But I remember a time when people beefed over whether Cash Money was hip hop or whether Luke Skywalker and the 2 Live Crew was hip hop, right? I lived through that, so I've seen this before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think that's a better question.
I remember when people said Melly Mel wasn't hip hop.
I do. That never happened.
No, I know, but to your point, I think that's a good point. But also, like, the one thing that I just think gets overstated, and it was a little bit overstated, I thought, in the article, and in general, conversation-wise, is that, like, because we have these sort of notable feuds, if you will, with artists, whether it was the me and Nicki thing or recently the Drake thing or whatever it is, people then blanket, like, we deal with hundreds of artists. You know what I'm saying? And like, I can, I know me and Ebro, just us alone, have our own separate conversations that are going with artists nonstop all the time of a variety. So like, you're talking about, while you could point out those artists and say that there can be some weird thing there, and I think that's reasonable, I couldn't even list to you the countless rappers who we're talking to, working through, hey, do you want to premiere a song? What are your thoughts on this? I'll go to your listening. Like, the whole job that all of us have goes so much more than just these sort of limited feuds with really big artists. So that's sort of the thing I take objection to, is like, of course we're going to go at it with some people sometimes. I mean, this whole thing is high school. Hip hop is a big high school, right? And Drake.
Some people are freshmen.
Exactly.
Some people have been here too long and need to graduate.
Yeah, like us. No, and like Hot 97, we're 25-year seniors, right? I get it. We have our seasons, and right now, man, ever since Drake's freshman year, he's king of the school. So does that mean
starting quarterback?
He's starting quarterback,
as a freshman,
and he's
Degrassi.
And it's a Degrassi, if you will. And he's got the captain of the cheerleader squad as his girlfriend, right? Like I get it. Everyone plays roles. So like, while we may have a period where it's not peachy with Drake, A, there are plenty of periods when it is peachy with Drake, and B, there are a million other circumstances where we played really pivotal roles for artists and people aren't even necessarily aware of it.
Yeah, just like a Joey Badass that will constantly, like, if I saw him the other day and he's always saying, yo, thank you, man, for everything you guys have ever done for me. Or a Bronson, or artists like that. And we never, ever get any credit for that at all.
Now, if shit gets crazy, you might turn on the radio one day and we're going to be talking our shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't give a fuck what an artist says, right? And I'm from this time period where the DJ played your record, bro.
Right.
We have 5 million people that tune into this radio station throughout the week at different points and different times.
Right.
I have the right to have as much opinion about a record that I play as someone who wrote a song and made it, because I'm up here selecting things and I'm putting myself out for a new artist, right? Who nobody knows.
Yeah.
And people on the internet can say whatever the fuck you want, but the world doesn't live on Twitter, the world doesn't live on Instagram, and the world doesn't live on YouTube. There's a whole other world out there that radio stations like this take you to the mainstream, like the real mainstream. Not just the Twitter hashtag that's trending for a day, meaning like the real mainstream where your song is played in heavy rotation for a fucking year, where literally every hour your song played. There's nothing available on earth that can do that for an artist. So we have our right to talk our shit. That's just what it is. And I'm going to talk my shit. Just like when Star and Buck was here, they talked they shit, right? When Miss Jones was here, they talked they shit. When fucking, damn, I'm old. When Red Alert talked his shit.
Wendy
when
Williams.
Mr. Magic talked her shit. When Wendy Williams talked her shit, right? Like radio. Fuck him. When Frankie Crocker talked his shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's radio. It's not new. It's not new that radio DJs that also have an audience because artists aren't the only ones with an audience.
I agree.
We have an audience too.
But what we also have to keep in mind is back then artists had to earn this veteran position, this legendary position, this OG position. And if you're looking at hip hop right now, I'm not saying that what the morning show does is anti-hip hop. I'm saying what the morning show does is against what current hip hop is made of. Because if you look at artists, like you coming for Yachty fans are just like, because in their mind, Yachty has skipped all of the major steps that you and I feel he needs to earn.
I don't think he skipped any steps.
Well,
he still has, but listen, Yachty, if you hear my voice, you're big and you're doing your little parties and clubs. It's brand new, my G. It's brand new. Talk to me in 5 years.
That's
Talk
exactly
to me
my
in
point.
10 years. Your little Twitter hashtags is all cute today. It's cute today.
That's exactly my point. We are living in the talk to me in 5 years. They're living in the talk to me in 5 seconds.
Because they're 5 years ago, they was 14 years old. They don't wipe their ass good. I'm not gonna placate to some fucking children. Like, what the fuck are we doing? We're gonna allow our culture that we love to be ran by fucking children who 5 years ago or who are okay disrespecting the heritage that's been built, where they're okay publicly being like, Yachty's as great as Tupac. Yo, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, bro, like, yo, real shit, hip hop has saved people's lives, man. And it's also lost a lot of lives while people were trying to just have a voice. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not fucking letting this shit get ran by some fucking Twitter.
And by the way, exactly. And by the way, that's not, at least I think I can speak for Ebro, because sometimes I realize these days I'm going to have to start doing PR during the show. You're not, that venom isn't directed at Yachty. That's directed at the people out there jumping down your throat for simply asking questions or being tough. And by the way, when
Yachty came up here, we showed him love and we had a great time. I think he's funny and smart.
And he's
love
him.
Yeah.
And he's only bigger since then. I mean, he has gotten only bigger since that happened.
I mean, he wrote a song to you to show that he could spit. You know?
Exactly.
Left something to be desired. We'll get there. We're working together. I'm
a big Yachty fan.
Like a rap coach.
We're just working together.
I'm a big Yachty. You guys think I'm lying. I am a big Yachty fan. I'm currently playing 3 Yachty records on my show. I'm a fan. I think 3
of his or 3 he's featured
on? 1 is half his, and the other 2 he's featured on.
But you're not
the
playing
Day-Day remix. No, I'm not.
That Day-Day remix is tough.
Day-Day remix
the
is
Leaf
tough.
Record stuff.
Mixtape with Chance is tough. And I'm playing Broccoli just because it's a smash. I want to support drum and support the record. But it's not about Yachty. But I do understand what Ebro's saying in terms of like, we can't placate to a ridiculous fan base. Now, even back in the day, you could argue, EPMD was 17 when they came out.
True.
All these guys were young.
Nas.
Nas was a kid. But remember, Nas had MC Search and Large Professor and all these
people around him that were like, listen.
Now, by the way, so does Yachty.
Something.
He's a bad example, right? Because Yachty has Coach K. Like, there are people
Coach
who do
K
have
brought
that.
us Yeezy and a lot of other amazing shit.
There are a lot of people that, like, so some people do have people in place. And they're just kind of, and the coach is literally in this case, no pun intended, coach is just letting them play the game and sitting back and kind of directing.
Right.
But we do need people like that. And I do think it's important that, like Ebro said, we can get all the, like, it doesn't matter, radio doesn't matter. It sounds great. It sounds great.
Right.
But go ask the people who really know because it's their life. Go ask Chance if radio matters.
Right.
Go ask Childish Gambino how much radio matters. Ask Childish about what happened after 3005. Like, yes, are we everything? No, we are no longer the main tastemakers, right? SoundCloud and these things are a big deal. But if you want to go from being a successful internet rapper to being a rich, successful music star,
Right.
well, then you probably care about mainstream radio.
Yeah, and I mean, when I wrote that article, that's essentially why I wanted Hot 97 to speak about it, because it really wasn't my job as the writer to then, toss facts or compliments about things that were going on in this show. I wanted to speak directly to you guys. I wanted your take on it.
Yeah, maybe you should have done it. No.
Look Look at his
Maybe I
face.
should have.
They have him doing so many. He does. It's hard to
No.
keep track, honestly. Sometimes.
No, there's a lot that happens.
No, I mean, that was the first thing, though. When it was presented to me to write it, I said, well, okay, so I'll offer these roundabout facts. When do I get to speak to the actual people?
You should have just gone through Laura, who you know.
I
mean,
know,
you
but you
could've.
know, I wanted.
You want to be professional.
I wanted
Go
to
the
be
proper
professional.
route. Okay.
You had beef with other parts of the article though. You didn't. I think when she was breaking down ratings and she was there was certain things that you were like, how?
Yeah, was there a ratings portion?
There was
Yeah.
a ratings portion.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned like the numbers you used were 12 plus.
That's all they have access to.
Because that's what you have
Yeah.
access to.
Access to
And so like a lot of times people look at 12 plus numbers, but no one in our business actually looks at 12 plus numbers.
Right.
They don't make sense. What 12 plus means for anyone watching is that it's the ratings of every single person above the age of 12 or sometimes 6. And it's an absurd thing. What we focus on here.
And that's all the way to 65, by the way.
right. So that is too wide a net. No one, our advertisers don't care about that. They care about 18 to 34 year
You want to hate Hot 97. Let us try to be popular for 12-year-olds and 65-year-olds at the same time.
right. And that won't work. That's not where we go.
That'll be a radio station y'all will love.
Right.
I mean, but so what are the stats that I didn't have access to, because that would have been a great thing to ask as well. So
Well,
what's-
I don't know if we could have given them to you or how that works,
Right.
but 18 to 34, the numbers are much different. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of times people will throw out a number.
Usually
not-
number 1, 2, sometimes 3, depending on where Z100 is and La Mega is. So Spanish top 40, Hot 97. Even in Hot 97's like heyday with like no competition, there was nobody else on, and the rating system was completely different. It was between us and Z100. Then you have day part breakouts. You have the morning show. You have this. You have that. You have Flex. We battle it out with the Breakfast Club, obviously. Who else is in there? And Elvis, right? So we beat Elvis.
What
Elvis
about La
beats
Mega's
us, we
morning
beat-
show?
Then La Mega's morning show recently has popped up, and it changes a lot, right? Like there's fluctuations. It's not every week we get a trend. Every month we get different ratings. So it's consistency over a long period of time. And that's persons 1834 and 1849. So right now, persons 1834, Hot's 1 or 2, and top 3 persons 1849. That's our numbers right now, according to Nielsen.
Got it.
Now, on the internet, if you want to look at our social what is it called? Influence or our subscribers on YouTube. We have 1.43 million subscribers. That's the largest of any radio station on earth other than BBC in the UK, which covers the entire country.
right.
Right. So-
world, really.
Right. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
That's the numbers. But I live in a space today where I understand that a lot of young people that love hip hop, they don't care about numbers. Right? Like they like what they like.
Right.
Right? People all the time will come to me and be like, yo, they're selling out shows. I'll be like, where was the show? Webster Hall. I'll be like, well, Webster Hall's 1,200 people or whatever the number is. Like, talk to me when they're selling out like at least Radio City numbers, like 5,000. People will be like, yo, they sold out SOBs. SOBs holds 250 people.
Right.
Like, but people don't care because that's what they like. Or they'll go, yo, you see how many views I got on YouTube? Views from who and how frequently and who are they and where do they live? And there's so many other factors in there that go into why a decision gets made at this level, right? But I think that's just where there's so much fragmentation. People have so many choices right here at their fingertips that people just want to see the shit that they love get shine. And I challenge anyone else out there who always has something to say about Hot. If we're not important, why are you still talking about us?
Right. I agree.
Right? Why are we still a part of every single conversation? And why, when we have an opinion on something, does it go so far? And that's because of what that logo means to the culture of hip hop, has always meant, and what it still means today, and what it also still means to artists who want us to play their records, right?
Yeah.
But we're never just gonna get up here and suck dick and kiss ass. It's just not how I'm wired, unfortunately. I'm not wired that way, and that's not why I get paid, right? I don't get paid to just do that. And as many favors as I do for artists where I'm playing their record or putting money in their pocket to perform at Summer Jam or helping them get Live Nation deals or helping them even get record deals, right? From the exposure that we give them. That's my give back. But I still gotta like lick your kneecaps too? Like
it's a lot.
It's at a certain point,
Or,
it's like, yo, my
or
man.
advertise it because you don't even talk about more than half the shit that you do.
I don't because that's,
You should.
No, but that's for
Yeah, but I feel like you know.
that devalues it in some ways because the audience needs to feel like they're the ones that got it done. That helps the
And
artist.
think about it. Would you want somebody always posting that they did you a favor? I think that's a little.
Well, I think the problem is, people have a goldfish memory when it comes to anything and everything, but for whatever reason, they do only remember these isolated incidents when it comes to the morning show or even Flex. I mean, if they ask me the last 3 things that I remember about Funkmaster Flex, the first thing I think of is Culture Vultures and Dame Dash, and that was a year ago now. So I think that you should temper some of the stuff with the things that you actually do, because there is a utility in what you do besides putting your little Yachty in a hot seat and telling him to freestyle when he doesn't know how to.
Yeah, but that's more fun.
But that's the thing.
And one thing I found interesting when I spoke to Kathy about it is that she's like, am I just gonna sit there and get attacked? And sometimes I find it interesting how some people view us as they come here almost as we're gonna attack people, and I don't feel that way.
I can't even tell you. I only told a few people that I was coming here, and I can tell you the comments. I got the fuck Ebro, but he's fine though. Yeah. So many guys were telling me. No, I'm kidding. No,
we know it's
however I get the love. However I get the love.
People are like calling me up. Godspeed, good luck. I mean, but because that's the opinion, And then people who read my article. I got a couple of actuallys, but some people are like, yeah, fuck hot. And I'm like, well, that wasn't the point of my article either. The point of
that's always what happens when you make a criticism. That's what I used to get after the Nicki Minaj thing, was like, yeah, fuck Nicki. And I was like, no. That's not what I'm saying at all. When people hear you point out one piece of criticism, they all jump in as like, yes, I agree, I hate them. And it's like, no, that's not what you were saying. And I didn't take your article to be that way either. But like, I guess I just am confused about why there's now this repeated conversation, it seems like, of like, people waiting to get rid of Hot 97.
It's always been that way. Always.
It has. I mean,
since Power 105 came on in 2002, March 2002 is when they came on the air. When they switched it from, I think it was Jammin' 105 or whatever it was, and they switched it to go at Hot 97. That was the new thing. That's when you got to see how many people don't like. It's the same thing with anybody or anything that is just big.
I get it, but don't people realize that Power 105, we're the little engine that could.
They don't get
that.
No,
they don't understand that.
Power 105 is iHeart. They were created to sabotage us, which is basically a mom and pop radio station that has 2 moneymakers, Power 106 in LA and Hot 97 in New York.
Right.
And we're positioned as if we're the big bad guys because we happen to have been successful and we're here first. But really, we're up against the big bad guys. We're up against a place that when you see them getting syndicated,
it's literally destroying jobs.
They're taking people's jobs in other markets and being like, we'll just put on the Breakfast Club.
Right.
But we're the bad guys because we do a local show here. And by the way, and people will see this. You can watch, if people are privy to the 18 to 34 numbers, they can see the way the numbers are going and trending. And that is that eventually people get sick of just hearing national generic gossip, and ultimately people like hearing a local radio show that talks about local issues. I feel very strongly in saying that when the most important things are happening, not gossip, but when the most important social and political things are happening, I feel that this city turns to this radio station.
Oh, absolutely. When you came for the police officer, I mean, that was epic.
But that moment only happened not because I said it, but because we're a place that people turn to hear things like that.
It's always been that way. I agree.
And I think that's so valuable, and I'll take all the criticism all the time. I mean, I'm not going to sit here. Obviously, it bothers me, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it doesn't annoy me that it seems like people are always waiting for Hot 97. It's just the thing that really bothers me is how misinformed they are about what they're even viewing in terms of who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. They don't even know.
Well, that's why I think it's sometimes important to toss in some of the things that you do. I think, I understand it's more fun.
Ebro mentions my Sunday night show every single day. No one ever still cares. No one cares. And you could
listen to your Sunday night show.
Thank you very much. You're the one. But like
also,
he points it out all the time.
But I'm not going to get up here and toot my own horn.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to do
Laura
that.
and Rosenberg.
No, but the point sometimes is people who actually are covering this, right? Yourself or other people who are actual journalists, not people who just write 2 sentences and post on a blog and think that they're covering something, but people who actually cover things.
Right.
You would think if they cared enough, right, they would actually go and get the information and actually dig in deep beyond me just giving a quote or an interview, right? Because there's always been moments with artists at Hot 97.
Absolutely.
It's not a new thing where this radio station, the company that owns it, and the DJs that are out in this local community here, not in the cool Manhattan trendy clubs, literally in the boroughs, around the corner from your house for the last 25 years or whatever the damn math is, how long we've been here, actually entertaining the listener. When the artist comes along, that's awesome. We show you love, right? But we ain't gonna kiss your ass the whole time, B. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, not for me.
Right.
You know, because at a certain point, it becomes like, yo, give me a song, we play your song. Awesome, right? But when you're gone, we still gotta serve the people. We still gotta be here every day with the people. So I'm not sucking your dick, B. It's not happening. It's not happening.
But those historical incidents that you're referencing, they didn't have social media coming at it. They
Right, but
didn't
we're not
have
going
the
to change
internet.
what we do because there's a new platform.
Right,
not doing
but
it. It's not happening.
That's the whole argument of the piece. It's, you know, you have these things that are coming in, and when the jock becomes, you know, the star, and they become part of the narrative, and it becomes a super, you know, integral part of the narrative. I mean, you're a huge part of the narrative that happens when it comes to certain artists that, you know, have a problem with just Hot 97. I mean, when you're talking about the historical element of the station, when you had the Locks coming on here to talk to Angie to try to be emancipated
And Diddy
from
was
Puff.
pissed.
Right.
But we wasn't kissing Diddy's ass.
But Puff wasn't on Twitter at the time.
He was
saying,
on my cell phone screaming at me, talking about what the fuck are you doing?
Right,
And I
but
was
you
like, yo, B, I don't work for you, man.
You didn't have Twitter, though, to talk, you know, at Diddy, what's your deal? You didn't have that back then. So all of these behind closed doors meetings, and I remember you mentioned it when it came to, you know, this isn't the first time somebody said fuck Hot 97. Wayne did it. Jay did it. You had, at the time, though, there wasn't social media, you know, pulling that video down, putting it up. And I mean, that too was sensationalized. He didn't get on stage and say fuck Hot 97. He said he's not coming on until Flex is fired.
that was actually totally, it changed the entire conversation and done wrong.
Absolutely.
Right.
Which is why I put the real quote up at the top of the piece, because at least, you know, I mean, you got to understand, for someone like myself, I was like raised on my mother's meatballs and Hot 97. So
Right.
to
How
write
are those meatballs?
They're good.
Amazing.
3 different meats.
Wow.
But,
All in one ball?
yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Serious. But so you're basically asking the point, can we still be what we once were in an era that's handled so differently?
Yes, essentially that's the question, because we don't know where this audience is going. You're setting certain artists to a standard that they can never live up to, just for a number of reasons. And also,
but I don't understand. I don't understand.
You don't think the standard you're holding them is something they can't be held to?
What, just to be awesome rappers if you want to rap, or to make great music?
yeah, but until
There are people
we
that
change,
still make great music right now.
until there's a new title for that particular form of hip hop, it's like putting.
Yeah, but we
it's
didn't
putting-
like everybody in the 90s.
We didn't.
We didn't
but,
like Tag
but what
Team
you're
was a thing.
essentially
Whoop
saying.
There It Is was a thing, guys. Like, that was a thing, and it was big.
But it's like you coming to Smith and Wesson and telling them, you know what you need to do? You need to be like, well, I'm Tech and Steel, and I'm like, you can't try to bring them back to an era that doesn't even sound the same, that doesn't even look the same.
I'm not bringing Yachty back to an era. You say you rap.
Yeah, but that definition is so different from what we remember it.
Right. I hear what she's saying. I mean,
I hear it. I just, if
I'm
you
not-
can
I'm
rap,
not
you can
saying-
rap, or you can't. That's it. That's it.
You got to understand, I agree with your lyrical standard.
It's not even, but my thing isn't even like lyrical content. My thing
delivery,
is
too.
your ability to rap,
Poor
whatever
Yachty.
that is.
I didn't know that it
Look,
needs to be
like
just
for
about
instance,
Yachty either, though,
Lil Uzi Vert can really rap,
Right,
in
right.
real life.
Right.
He plays this thing because he knows it's a good way to get shows and sell tickets.
Right.
He can really rap. There's artists who are Uzi Vert's age right now, who rhyme their fucking ass off, and so for me, I don't agree with you, because there are artists who are 20, 19, 18 who do a great job at rapping. What Uzi Vert is doing, and what Drake has done a good job at it, and many other artists, is they're using the pretty elements of melody to skirt around rapping, because they know they can do pretty music
Right.
and melodic music and emo music, and it's going to get the girls and the guys, right?
Yeah.
Instead of actually rhyming,
but Ebro-
which is cool. But if you say you're a rapper or an MC or whatever, a hip hop artist, and that's what you do,
Right.
I may ask you to rap.
And even if, and for example, if Ebro threw on an instrumental and whoever this artist was who's more melodic than they are straight an MC was to get on and do that, right? Off the top and just go. Yeah, but not much different than what Tish Hyman did when she was here. You don't have to rap.
I love Tish. Shout out to Tish.
You don't have to rap. You could get on here and be straight melodies.
Yeah,
but be prepared
But my point
to do
is
it.
to act
still
like
an
there
art.
aren't young artists right now in hip hop who can't rap is doing a disservice to those artists and our culture.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that there are artists who are very popular who just aren't good at rapping and consider themselves rapping,
Right.
and they just happen to be popular, that's not new either.
No, I mean, we went through this with the shiny suit era, and everybody's like, "Well, what about raucous?" So there's always that balance.
So I'm not going to, but to the whole point of this, I'm not going to back off it.
Right.
Not going to back off it. I don't care who gets mad.
The dude with the bars isn't selling records. He doesn't get on the radio.
The dude with the bars never really sold a lot of records.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it 100.
But putting the dude without the bars who is selling records in the hot seat makes it a lot harder.
I don't care. That's your problem. You shouldn't have came up here. You want this platform and you want these 1.3 million. Artists tell me no all the time. Matter of fact, there's artists who come in here that can rap. They'll be like, nah, it's early, B, I'm chilling. Or I just worked on an album right now and I really don't have nothing left. And they're honest and we don't even put them on the spot. We edit that out. And the audience never even sees it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're honest. Lil Yachty was up here. He decided to rhyme. He also decided to say, I don't really care about it like that. I'm just having fun. And we laughed along because he acknowledged what it was.
Right.
And I'm okay with acknowledging that. But then don't try to put him in other conversations. That's all. That's all.
And we definitely do give artists a fair chance. There's plenty who
When
turn
Drake
it
came
down.
up here for the first time and read off his BlackBerry, right? We still showed him love.
Right.
We still showed him love. He did it his way for his time, being young, his first time on hot. He wanted to get it right. Boom. Read it off your phone, my G. Do what you got to do.
Right.
Like, what's the kid that just came up here with the kid from the Bronx? What's his name? With the hoodie.
A
Boogie's
boy.
with the hoodie. His boy, Don Q, fucking came up here and murked it. They're 20 years old from the Bronx. We don't have to back off it. There's people who do great jobs, right? Now, once again, you may not sell as many records being a keeping it real rapper. Oh, well, that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to entertain the people. That's that.
Well, I mean, to each his own. I mean, the argument wasn't pulled from thin air. I didn't make it up. I certainly didn't make it up.
People are pissed at
Yeah.
97 for real.
Right. So I was just laying
And
it out.
I do think there's inconsistencies to your argument. I do think holding people to standards that are not what they do doesn't always make sense.
But then tell me you don't do that.
But
but you make it seem like people don't have a choice when they come here. We've definitely given people a choice. How many times have people have said, no, I don't want to do it?
Yo, there's artists
And
that
that
come up
part's
here.
true.
There's artists that have come up here and wanted to rap and complained about the beat 4 or 5 times. And I fucking spazzed out. I never even put the interview out to protect them.
Thank
Right.
you.
I
Thank you.
freaked out on them and all they boys.
If that interview would have gone out, that artist would have been destroyed.
I protect artists all the
destroyed
time.
his
that,
career.
we do edit things out a lot to help people, and that people don't know that either, of course. Some places, I'm not going to name names, they'll do the
stop,
opposite.
man.
They'll take private recordings and make them public,
Stop.
and no one cares. When someone does something stupid, do the opposite and go, that'll get a lot of views, but that's really bad for you.
Right.
We don't want that to be in the interview. More
Or
often than
that
anything else.
might get you killed. How about that?
Or that
We
might
had
get you
that too.
killed.
Yo,
Oh,
we
we've had
definitely
that too.
That where I'm like, yo, my man,
We're not going to use that part.
we're not going to do that.
You don't realize what you just said, but that's not what you want to say.
See, but not
But what
to
are we gonna
bring
do?
it-
We're gonna. People already think I'm obnoxious because I say little things like that. We're gonna have a day when we go. Today is tell the world all the nice. Now, I could argue this. This is the hard thing. Why didn't you go interview art? Like you could watch artists who we interview a bunch of times. You could have called Action Bronson and said, "Tell me about your relationship with Hot 97." You could have
Right.
called Chance the Rapper and said, "Tell me about your relationship with Hot 97" or
Yeah.
Childish Gambino.
I
And I
could.
think they would have told you a story of like, well, I have a relationship with Ebro, and I have a relationship with Enough, and I have a relationship with Laura or Rosenberg or whoever. There's a lot of, so if people wanted to go that route and pursue that story's there to be told. I just
Yeah.
don't think it's our place to kind of tell everyone about every detail that we have with artists.
Well, and I don't really keep secrets. I tell all the business.
Facts.
I tell all the private conversations all the time.
Stop.
But I mean, I hate to bring it back to that, but that's really why I wanted to talk to you guys. And I'm glad I'm here doing it now. But that was the goal to speak to you. And I mean, when you're writing for the internet, you have 2 things in mind. Well, I don't, but when you're assigned it, you have 2 things in mind: word count and clickbait. So there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of wiggle room to get a bunch of secondaries. My secondaries were supposed to be you guys, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But that's okay because we're
Well, we
talking
brought
about
you
it
up here
now.
to get shine.
Oh,
Right
thanks.
now.
I'm sorry
Right
for
now, right now.
freestyling.
Tell them your name again.
Come on, Kathy.
To do what?
She's not here to plug.
I'm not here to plug.
Tell your story, Kathy. They need to know the work you do.
I'm gonna tell all the
let me
good
tell you,
things I've done.
Preach your gospel.
Kathy has
I'm
done a
good.
lot. Kathy, you're being very humble right now. As the stories, I need to bring you on my podcast, and I've been telling you about that too. Because to me,
Nice plug, nice
I've
plug.
thoroughly improper etiquette on iTunes. By the way.
Improper etiquette.
I just want to let you know that I have always enjoyed Kathy, and besides the fact that she's my friend, how honest she is. Your stories as a woman writer, the things you've had to deal with in this industry are insane. And
yes.
she's written for multiple publications, and she's just an amazing woman, man.
Laura. Thanks,
I'll do
Laura.
it for you.
And hi, Marissa. Marissa knows.
You know her too?
Oh my God. Marissa's got to
All
thank
right,
you
this
in the book.
interview's over. All right. Whoa, you had credibility in
Marissa's got to thank you in the book.
Yo, chill.
Why?
All right. Her name is Kathy
Kathy Iandoli.
Iandoli. Her mother makes amazing meatballs.
And she has a book coming out
and
soon.
she has a cookbook coming out with Prodigy.
Yeah, there you go. It's not out. What's the date on this?
October
I was
11th.
there in
There you go. Wow.
kitchen.
At Cat 3000. Thanks.